Okay, so I want to share something about myself, what I'm experiencing, what I think about it. There's a lot of information that I pick up. There's a lot of really strange things that I pick up, and wonderful things. And I wonder why it's all happening right now, and why in just like since August of last year, I've literally uncovered very, very intimate details upon myself and upon the world and universe and science, spirituality, everything. And something popped up into my mind about a large gap of time in my life where I cannot remember, basically like from birth until like 10 years old. But even then, it's like there's like so many gaps in my life that I just simply don't remember. There was a certain age though, like I think maybe 3rd or 4th grade, where I really started remembering some things. But the only things that I could really remember are like either sexual experiences or something that scared me. It was like either physical things that happen, or it's like, exciting, scary, like whatever. It was, it doesn't have to be sexual, but it's like feelings, It's like something that I felt physically, or something that was emotional, or nature, things that I did in nature. And it's like a lot of times I look at photos of myself. My mom made like a scrapbook before she passed on, and I look at some of these pictures, and I went through old photos, and there's a lot of pictures in there of when I was super, super young, like like 4, 5, 6, something like that. And it's like I look at the photos and I don't recognize myself, and I don't recognize the people. I don't know where that is. It's like I don't even know who I was or where I was, and it's like really, really strange. It's a really strange experience to look at yourself when you're younger and like not know who that is, or not even remember at all the people, the places, stuff like that. Not even like recognizing yourself, It's like I have flashing bits of memory. It's like everything is a dream. It feels like everything was sort of a dream. I'll get flashing bits of memory that I can't recall exactly, but the feeling hits me, and I'm like, ooh, something, like I'll smell something in the air, and I'm reminded of a place, and it's like, even though I can't really put my finger on it, there's something big there. And there's something about space and gaps in time, like gaps in my lifeline. And I feel like I'm so aware now. For whatever reason, I just stopped doing everything that I was doing to discover truths. And it's like, it's almost as if, I'm going through all the gaps in time, all these gaps in my lifeline, in this current lifeline, if we want to call it that, and I'm literally experiencing them all now. Like I'm going through it and I'm experiencing them all now. And sometimes I experience it from somebody else's shoes and somebody else's lifeline. Because it's like, sometimes I don't recognize it, and sometimes I do recognize it. And that's probably the only way I can tell the difference between my lifeline and another lifeline. But it's almost like I still can't tell the difference between that either. But I know there's a lot of gaps in my lifeline that I have talked to somebody about, and they're like, well, I don't know. When you talk to a psychologist and you tell them, yeah, I don't remember anything from 1 to like 10, 11 years old, and they look at me and they're like, when you get a look like that from a psychologist, it's like, well, that's not something you hear every day. And it's like, yeah, I could hypnotize myself, or like, go to somebody who can hypnotize me, or talk to somebody or whatever. But it's like, I'm talking to these other dimensions, and I talk to myself, and I go outside and I talk to nature and stuff, and I listen to what they got to say, and I feel what they're saying as well. And I feel like that's the only way that I'm going to be able to discover what those gaps what happened in those gaps of time. You know, and it's like these mediums that I have gone to, and I've had people like mediums that have just like been in my path and they have just looked at me and had to tell me information right away. And I'm always blown away by it because it's like they were just put there, popped in and out of existence to just like find me and then tell me something about my past that I simply don't remember, something big. So it's like this undeniable proof for me to realize something else. And so that's why I talk about my experiences, because it's like this undeniable proof to my own self of something bigger, something else that happened during these timelines, these mind pockets from my past, or if we want to call it my past. But yeah, there's just something about perception and in space. And there's something about so many gaps in my time that I just don't remember. And I think that's the reason why I'm experiencing this all right now. Because I'm just so determined, so driven to figure it out. To figure out myself and this world and this whole dimensional, scenario. And trying to find the difference between the dream realm and the awake realm. And it's like I really can't tell the difference sometimes, because when I like at night when I look at the nighttime and I close my eyes, like say it's pitch black, right, or like there's a little bit of light, it's like you have your eyes open, okay, but when you close your eyes you still see the same thing. Like when it's nighttime you still see the same stuff in the air. Like you really can't tell the difference. And when I think about like your third eye, and it's like, when I really get my third eye engaged, it's like I'll see like a dot here, right? And it's almost like a mandala, I guess you could say. It looks like a dome, kind of, because it's like I'll see a dot here, and then it's like I'll see it's like a flower, kind of. It's like a circle, like a dot, real concentrated right here, and then it's like, say the dot's here, and then it's like here, like petals, right? And then more petals, like circles, like half circles, half moons, right? And then that goes and that goes, and it's like if I project my third eye onto like a wall or something like that, that's what it looks like. Usually it comes out as like this yellow color, but I can think of a color, and then like that color will now show. And it's like the same thing when I look at the sky. It's the same thing, and it's like sometimes I can do it to where I look at the wall or something like that, and I can actually see a moving picture, like a movie. It's like an actual movie, and it's like my mind is literally like dreaming, I guess is what we could call it, dreaming, but I'm actually watching it happen on just like a screen, like any like the wall or something like that. And so when I see something like that when I'm awake and I look at that and I'm like, whoa, that's basically what a dream is. So it's like when I try to make sense of that, and I think to myself, okay, well, I'm laying in bed. Okay, my brain goes into whatever delta wavelengths, I don't know, whatever the wavelength is, it's your brain goes into to sort of like settle down and go to sleep. And it's like you see this movie picture in your head, and that's a dream. But when I really think about it, these dimensional realms and this information and like astral projection, out of body experiences, and when I really think about it, when I really imagine it, it's like, what's the difference? Where are you when you dream? Do you actually dream inside your head? Because if I am projecting what I'm seeing on a wall, it's the same thing as being awake. The only difference is that you have eyelids. I mean, when you really think about it, it's just eyelids. Because what you're seeing is the same thing you're seeing when you close your eyes at night, and the only difference is that you're accessing some dimension. But it's like if your eyelids were open and you were awake and you access that dimension in your brainwaves, it's like literally you're there. You're actually there. So I always wonder about the whole dreaming, not dreaming thing, because to me it kind of doesn't really make sense, as if we're in our heads or we're actually there. You know, there's a lot of things that I've experienced, like some nights I'll be like so jazzed up, like kind of hyper and trying to sleep, that I'll close my eyes, and like immediately upon closing my eyes, I'm like, I see trees and I'm walking through nature. And it's so clear, like I'm not even sleeping, like not even close to sleeping. I just have my eyelids shut and it's so clear. It's like I'm really, really there. And I'm like, I'm in a house though. So how is this happening right now? So it really makes me question reality a little bit, because I'm like, what's the difference though? You know, like, what is the difference? What if, what if that's what happens? You know, we say people go missing or people die or whatever, stuff like that. Like, what if that's what happens? Your brain waves literally access some sort of dimension, some sort of wavelength, you know what I mean? Like some frequency, right? And it's like you project it. You project it into your reality, and you're there. And you don't really question it. You're just there. And it makes me wonder, like, it's like you're not really sure where you are sometimes, you know? It's like every day I wake up and if I have a dream, I'm like super excited. But at the same time, I'm like, was I really there? Was I actually really there while I was laying in bed and I think it was just in my head? Because I'm projecting it, right? It is your eyesight. It's confusing. It's a little mind-blowing to like imagine that. I mean, what you're seeing is basically what your mind pocket is thinking about or creating. So yeah, I guess that's all I have to share for now. I'm still a little confused about that, but it's pretty wild when I think about it. All right. Well, thanks for watching.